Hello guys, Assalamu alaikum. There we go. How's everyone doing? Oh, I'm so tired. I am just connecting with my friend and we will take it from there. Okay. Yes.
Hello. I've made
Hi.
it.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yep, been looking forward to catch up with you.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an echo I can hear. That's better.
You okay, man?
Yep, I'm all yours. Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. Echo's gone. Yep.
How have you been, Hamish?
Long week. What day is it? I'm doing good. Yeah, I've had a good week. It's been lots of fun and yeah, ready
Are
to
you
carry
excited
on.
about the conversation?
I'm talking about things I know quite a lot. I've got quite a lot of experience about talking about men, so I think I should be all right. Yeah.
All right, Hamish, let's begin with where we left off yesterday. I know we touched on it a little bit last time, but
Hmm.
I just want to start with that, and that was this emotional safety. We barely touched on it, so I wanted you to kind of like educate us on, do men want emotional safety or safety in general from women? If so, how does that look like?
I think men want safety from anything, not just from women. Certainly, in my experience, it has been that men don't realize they don't feel safe. And when we don't realize we're feeling safe, we will do anything we need to protect ourselves. So that will be unkind, bullying, withdrawing, not talking, not sharing, not communicating, drinking, isolating. The list goes on and on. Basically, I mean, women as well. People, we require safety. It's
Yeah,
more important than sex. More
yeah.
important than food. You know, you when you're sick, you hunker down. You get safe. When you're feeling
Mhm.
safe, you eat. When you're feeling safe and you've eaten, you want sex. And slowly up Maslow's triangle of needs. But safety is the, I think, the most core thing of every person's most essential need. And when we don't get that, everything starts to break down very quickly.
Interesting. So, do you think that women nowadays, or over the years, or over the centuries, however you want to put it,
Hmm.
have given that safety to men?
Now, that's an interesting question. I'm just looking back at my parents and grandparents. I think there were more defined roles back then, certainly in
Yeah.
my culture. Um, and yours, yes, there were more defined roles. There was, you know, the woman would be bringing up the children, would be the stay-at-home mum, would be doing that kind of thing. When the father, the husband, the man would be going to work, providing, bringing in the income, bringing in that security, bringing in the nurture, his masculine equivalent, the discipline that children need, all that kind of stuff. So the roles were different, and maybe that was easier.
Yeah.
Whether communication was better, I have no idea. I suspect probably not. Um,
I think the
but yeah,
roles were better than the communication.
the roles
The
were more
roles were more
defined.
defined and clear. Yeah.
I
There
don't
you
think they were
go.
better.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily. Yeah. Mm.
Uh, now that we're talking about it and we're saying it out loud, I'm just thinking that since the role was so defined and clear,
Mm.
did it make it easier for them? Seems so when you have a conversation with them. Like if I sit with my dad or somebody, you know,
Mm.
from a previous generation, and I'll speak with men's perspective, and then you can clear that with me.
Mm.
So my father generation men, right, and that be 70s or 80s, or men in their 60s and above, right?
Mm.
That generation of men, when I've had a conversation with them, they carry more of the masculine energy, in the sense that they were more clear in their head that we are the providers. We have to do this. We don't have a choice, right? They didn't have a choice. Men now
Mm.
have more choices, right?
Mm.
And they felt more secure in their role.
Yeah.
Whether they wanted to do that or not, that's a different thing. But when I've had conversations with these men, even like I just even if I take my father, he is very clear. There is no confusion. He
Mm.
feels pride in it, and he feels he's carried it well. It was his responsibility, and he's carried it well. There is no complaint, there's no whining and stuff. So then that makes me think that this collision or this mingling of me trying to be the man or trying to play the man role because I
Mm.
want to prove men I'm better than them or I'm equal to them and blah, blah, blah. And then for whatever reason, and obviously I cannot state those reasons on men's behalf, they didn't want to play that role. They felt it's too heavy or whatever. That's where it all got mixed up. And now we're just confused.
Mm. Yeah, I was chatting to my cousin about exactly this over the weekend, and
Yeah.
women's roles have changed. And you guys are generally quicker at adapting. You've always had to be because you've had children running around and this happening and that happening and all sorts of things. So there's been that having to
Yeah.
respond, having to react to whatever.
Yeah.
And you've got a child on one arm, one on one hand, and you're doing this, you're doing that. There is women's brains do more things at once.
Yeah.
Just what it
Yeah.
is. So the adaptability is probably inherent because of being female, because of everything that you've had to do. Whereas men, man make fire, man hunt. There's not really a lot more than that. And as the roles have changed, it's like, well, what am I meant to do? How do I change? How do I stop being a provider? Particularly you men in their 40s or 50s in the dating scene again, looking for partners. Um, a lot of women now are self-sufficient. A lot of my female friends have got houses, have got homes, do not need the man to be the provider.
Yeah.
So he's busy going, well, then what the hell do I do? You know,
What the hell do they do then?
they talk, they listen, and conversations are, well, I don't need you to provide for me. I don't need you to bring up the kids. The kids are teenagers, 20s, gone, not no longer at home, whatever.
Yeah.
I want you to be my friend, my lover. We do things separately, do things differently. We do things together. I do not need financial support. I want you to love me, to be not my emotional support, as in that kind of thing, but to be there emotionally for me. That's what I
Yeah.
want. And it's just like, well, emotions? What the hell's that? So
Yeah.
it's quite tough. Um,
So it's not like it's not really getting easier for men, is it? And then it's getting harder for women then, if you look at it with that perspective.
I think it's just getting different, and I think my generation, what am I, Gen X? My parents were from the war, in the war, World War II. So they've got a really different outlook, had a different outlook. Whereas your kids in their teens, 20s, children in their, or young people in their 20s and 30s, completely different outlook, completely different expectations. And the men are not so much the providers because it's evened up more. So they've got their own identities to deal with, and stuff, but it's just different. And if you're not communicating, and if you're not able to go, I am no longer required to be the provider, but I can be something else for my partner, my girlfriend, my wife, great. But if you're not able to change that that narrative, that old out of date identity, then it gets difficult. Gets really, really difficult for both parties because she doesn't need it. He wants to be that. She doesn't need him to be that. Well, then what am I? How am I? Who am I?
Hamish, when you're saying that, so much is coming in my head, and I'm thinking about two categories of women, right? And one category is where I also fall is um, I can work, I can provide for myself financially, I can take care of myself, right? And there are women who got to this point because men did not were, I don't want to say incapable because that's harsh words towards men,
Mm,
but just that some were financially abused, right? Some men were not able to provide, so they had to go get, I want to become something, and blah blah blah, right? And now we're here and we're like, we do things like, what can you give me? Like
mm,
I can provide for myself, I can take care of myself, and take care of my kids, I can do everything. What are you going to give me, right?
mm,
And when a man doesn't have an answer to that, it's very frustrating. Like,
mm.
go
Yep,
get your, you know,
yep,
ass together, that
mm,
kind of thing. So then woman says, like, okay, even though I've taken care of the big part, the man being the provider,
mm,
I've taken care of that part. He still is unable to give me an answer. Like, there is still a lack somewhere. Like,
mm,
dude, I'm doing everything. What can you give me? And you have no answer. And you're just looking at me like, whatever. And
mm,
then there is this other generation where men are filthy rich. They've worked off. They've hustled, they've worked, they've made a lot of money, right?
mm,
And their women don't care, right? So they feel that all that they did to give that comfort to their wives and their kids is not respected. So was it worth it doing all that?
mm. Yep.
So what do we do now? Like, how do we understand this from both sides?
Talk to each other.
Talk.
That really difficult
Hamish,
thing.
men
That
don't talk. How do we talk?
exactly. Round it goes. Yeah. I don't know what the answer is. It's we'll get there. We'll work it out, won't we? Um, there has to be communication. There has to be if my money is not needed, if my um, capacity to provide is not needed, then I either have to work it out pretty damn quick if I want you to be my girlfriend, my love, and my wife,
Yeah,
or say, no, it's not going to work. And so the man has to work it out.
yeah,
Um, I had a guy on my podcast a couple of weeks ago who is a relationship coach, and he was talking about exactly that. He said what men and women should do is take the financial providing out of the family dynamic. So if there's 20 units, to say that I bring in the money does not mean that's 15 units and you have to put in, I only put in 5 and you put in the rest. I have to, as the man, help with the kids, help with the house, help with this, help with that, because what I'm putting in anyway, my money, my income, my source is, you take that out of the equation and then you balance it out. So if both parties or either of them are bringing the income,
mm,
leave that out of the family equation, because so often the wife, certainly my mum, she ran the home.
okay,
She would stay at home, she ran the home. A lot of women do that. A lot of women have their jobs, are working hard, have the kids, and then run the home, and it's just like, that's not reasonable. That is not reasonable. Just because he's working 40, 50, 60 hours a week doesn't mean he comes home and does nothing. That's just not, that's out of date. That is
mm,
completely out of date. Um, but that narrative has to be looked at. It has to be, you can't just, because you're bringing in the money, you can't just come home and do nothing. That's out of date. The
mm,
same way, if the wife is earning all the money, she can't come home and just do nothing. It's more complicated. There is more give and take. There is more communication, more, looking at it, at running the family. I'm going to say as a business, because it is. You've got money coming in, you've got money coming out, you've got clothes, you've got this. it's not just run on love. It's run on, it's not just run on love and income. It's run on being a partnership, being friends and lovers, but also, running a family business, because it's hard work. It's not just love running a family. It's effort, a lot of effort.
With where you've led the conversation, what comes, and now my religion comes in my mind, because then it's very clear in our faith, right? If you look at it like that, the man is the provider and the woman stay home, and it's not
Mm,
hard and fast rule, right?
mm,
But the general understanding, and then man needs to be the provider, right? And if I take it from that perspective, right? If a man is providing, and then if
mm,
I look at my desi setting, right, in my country and my culture, if a
mm,
man is working and he provides and he comes home, but he's disconnected from the wife and the kids, there's a gap. That's dysfunctional for me, right?
mm, mm.
Because you're just bringing in the money. That's just one part of the family unit. It's not the
Yep,
entire part, right?
yep.
And if the woman is taking care of the house and the kids and all that, and she's not getting the love and the nurturing or the pampering that she needs from the husband, again it's falling apart. But also where she is not playing the role of a wife, when her husband comes home, she doesn't ask him, how was your day, how are you feeling, do you need a cup of tea, stuff like that. She's exhausted from
Mm,
playing that role as the mother all day. He is exhausted from working and being the provider. When they both meet in that evening, they're both exhausted from their roles.
mm,
And neither of them want to interact. And when they do interact, it's always about, you don't give me time. I'm tired. Why don't you understand? So, yes, of course, there has to be communication. And I speak about it so many times that
mm,
men need to come home and not just assume that their partners will understand, because it's common sense,
mm.
that he's tired. And then this, it's very frustrating because men don't want to listen. But it's, you got to put your ego aside, and it's as simple as that. You come to your wife and you say, listen, I've had a hard day. I have a hard day every day at work, every single day. I just want to come home and detox. Give me 30 minutes, give me
Yep.
1 hour, give me 2 hours, whatever works for him. Give me that, and then I will be present. And then he's present. He gives time to the kids, he gives time to the wife, and he's there.
Yep.
And in the same way, the wife is not nagging him the minute he enters home. It's like she greets him, welcomes him,
Mm.
gives him the warmth, gives him and say, how was your day? Instead of nagging about how hard her day was, stop, pause, and ask him, how was your day? Sit. If he wants to sit with you, talk about his day, fine. If he doesn't, if he wants his space, you respect that. That's gonna be so hard for women. I'm just like, oh my God, imagine young girls doing that. Oh, it's not gonna happen. And
Mm.
then, uh, you know, kind of like filling the gap. But it is important. But then I also, Hamish, you and I are in the mature stages of our lives, right? And I know you're not a parent, but me being a parent and my kids grown up, still young, but when I look at myself, and if I had a healthy marriage and a healthy relationship and blah blah blah, and I go back when I was 27, I had my daughter, right? And I imagine myself all day I'm taking care of my kid. And then I'm taking up the in-laws equation over here, right? We usually, it's a joint family system. You live
Mm.
with in-laws and stuff. So I'm just taking that even out of the way. And I'm just thinking I'm home all day looking after my child, and she's a little baby. And I'm tired, I'm lonely. I had nobody to talk to. And now my husband comes home and he says, I need some time. I'm gonna be, dude, I've been taking care of the baby. I need you right now to listen. It was so bad. She kept on throwing up. I couldn't do anything. I was bored and blah, blah, blah. So it's my younger self. If you gave me the advice, or the advice I'm just giving myself right now, it doesn't resonate with my younger self. When I,
Mm.
I truly look at myself, I don't want to listen. You're my husband. It's your job. It's your responsibility.
Mm.
Listen to me. So, Hamish, now I'm frustrated. How would you help me?
That's when he goes to the gym for an extra 2 hours after work. That's when he sits in the car, terrified of coming home because he doesn't want to have those conversations.
Yeah.
That's when the marriage starts to break down because he can't communicate and she won't give him the space that he needs because he's not asked for it.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to ask for it. And because she's had gaga, baby, falling over, puking,
Yeah.
and repeat,
Yeah.
and repeat, and repeat. And
And
her
it's
conversation has been
exhausting. It's
400
exhausting for a
words.
mom. Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody here
absolutely.
says,
Mm, mm,
emotionally, men and women are different. Agreed,
mm.
100%. Women like expressing yes, and men prefer silence. Exactly. How do we bridge that gap, Hamish? Men prefer silence. They do. They don't like confrontation. They don't like their women expressing. Then what do we do?
Learn to talk. Men don't
We can only
always
talk
prefer
if we
men.
want to listen. I mean, we can't
Well,
talk to a wall.
no, no. Men prefer silence when they need to decompress. After that, they will talk. They will listen. Um, it's learning each other. It's remembering to. You met, you fell in love, you wanted babies, you made babies, you had fun making babies. You need to talk to each other, and it's really hard. It's really, really hard. You've had a long day at work at home. You want to talk. You want to share about all these things. He's had a long day at
Yeah.
work. He wants to, as Sarah said, he wants to be silent.
Hmm.
He wants to shut the world
Yeah.
off so he can breathe just for a little bit or all night. He can't all night in the same way that she can't, and rightfully so, just not talk about stuff because that doesn't work. Yeah. You've got to, you've it's you if you don't learn to communicate and support each other, the relationship falls apart. Like-minded. Yeah.
And if
It's
we just take Sarah's example, or Sarah, however she calls her name, I just think that when a woman is wanting to express herself and she's she's continuously receiving silence, like she's saying, I'm expressing, I want to express, or generally if she's talking about women. So
mm,
I would be like, if I'm expressing to my man, right? Even in my younger self and even in my this self, and he's going silent, maybe in my younger self I probably take it more aggressively, but right now in both stages what I'm getting back is I'm not being respected because my what I want to talk or express is not being valued. I'm
mm,
receiving silence, and that is
yep.
disrespect. So
Mm,
then that's not my partner, because my partner, when we, and then again having that conversation, listen, I know you come home, you're tired, I'm exhausted being a mom all day.
mm,
Where do we meet halfway? Have that conversation first
yep.
and decide where you meet that halfway. The guy says, okay, I come home, I go and I become silent because I'm tired. So, okay, you
Mm,
go in your room or you go in the room and you either you go for a walk or whatever, have your cup of tea alone, scroll on your phone or whatever. And then when you're ready, you need to tell me I'm ready. And then let me express whatever I want to, right? So if you
sure.
can
Mm,
bridge that gap,
yep.
beautiful. Now you're on the
Mm,
same page.
mm,
But if either one is unwilling to meet halfway, then I think there's no point in going forward with that relationship, because if the husband doesn't want to meet her halfway, and he continues with the silence and stays disconnected,
mm,
how much can a woman do? I mean,
yep.
like, she's
Mm,
tired also. You
yeah.
shouldn't take her for granted if she's not providing financially. She's
Mm,
still taking care of your home and your kids,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And vice versa. If
Mm,
a woman is nagging her husband and not understanding and respecting his boundary that he needs some space, then the man needs to understand, okay, she's never going to understand me. She doesn't understand why I need my space.
mm.
That relationship is just, nobody's bad there, but it's just, there's no alignment in there, that relationship. I believe so.
Yeah, and then maybe it's get help. Then maybe it is the pair of them say to find some professional help, talk to you, find a therapist, and just say, look, we are not communicating. We don't know how. We want to be
Yeah.
together. This is damaging us. But again, this is going down that vulnerable territory of admitting things aren't working, and that's really hard to do, especially for men. It's very hard to say this is not working. It's very shameful. There's so much shame
Why?
because we should be able to sort
Why
it
is it
out.
not?
We should be able to sort it out. We are, as men, we are expected to solve problems.
Isn't that too much of pressure?
Doesn't matter. That's what we're expected to do. But it is far too much pressure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Then when it's under pressure, how can you like have clarity, Hamish? How can you not? Or why won't a man come up to say that this is a lot, right? I
Mm.
can navigate through it, but I need the support. Why can't a man say that?
Lots and lots of reasons. One, he doesn't believe he can. Two, it makes him feel very unsafe.
Oof,
If
really?
I had to say to if I'd said to my wife, I don't know how to do this. I'm not feeling safe. I don't know how to navigate this. I would be terrified that she would leave me. Brené,
Really?
yeah, Brené Brown for years just studied women and talked about
Okay.
shame. And I can't remember the exact quote, but on the lines of one of her book signings, a man came up to her and said, "Why don't you study shame in men?" She said, "I just don't." And he said, "That's a pity." He said, "That's a real pity you don't study shame in men." And he said, "My wife and my kids would rather see me dead than fall off my shining horse." They needed him to be their support. They needed him to be strong, to protect them. And when a man thinks he cannot protect his family, that's his whole identity gone. And I mean, this is such a narrative in social media. When if a man is not able to a young man is not able to support his wife, his family, the likelihood of him being dumped or exchanged is very, very high. So we pretend everything is all right. We squeeze it together until it falls apart.
But Hamish, now it feels very contradictory because you have to have your shit, sorry, excuse my language in this space, together, right?
Hmm.
And you have to be the provider and the protector. And if you fail, your whole identity would collapse, and you
Yep.
probably that shame would probably kill you, right?
Hmm. Yep.
So I'm so confused. So now in this space, as a woman, right? I'm showing the man, well, I do need protection at any age. I would not deny that fact. That's something I just need from a man. But I'm the provider. I provide for myself financially. I take care of my stuff, take care of my kids and everything. Even then, they're unable to meet me. I'm taking care of a part they would feel shameful about. I've taken off that load, yet they can't meet me halfway.
Mm.
What am I supposed to do? Oh my God.
Find someone else. Find someone who can. Don't waste your time. And
that's
that's
a big
not
ask.
that's not brutal. It's not brutal. It's actually the
It's just
highest form
sad.
of
It's
self
just
respect.
sad.
Yeah,
It's just sad. You don't find men like that. It's just sad.
there
But
are
yeah,
men like that.
oh yeah,
They're
I'm
just
sure.
they're hard to find. They're happily married. A lot of them. Um, or they've realised that relationship didn't work and they are working on that. But it is hard. It is really hard. And if it's hard to role play. And I look back at my relationship. I didn't tell my wife I was struggling. I didn't tell her things weren't easy. I didn't tell her I had problems, and I lied. I said everything was all right when we had money problems and all sorts.
Yeah.
Um, and then it got to the stage where I don't know what to do. It's too late. If I tell her things aren't working, what's going to happen? And it just spiraled.
So
Um,
Hamish, make me. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you, but make me understand.
mm,
When men feel that they can't share it with their wives, and you couldn't also,
mm,
they feel that they can't tell their children, or let's not bring children right now because then it's more wider. The conversation goes more wider. Sorry, but if we just keep it to the partner, right? So you can't tell your partner that, okay, my business is failing, or I don't know what to do with my life, or what kind of work I want to do and stuff.
Mm.
That shame and that pressure in having that conversation, they just can't.
Mm.
Is it because they know they're going to face rejection? Because now I'm thinking that that means that the women were unable to create that safety where a man could come and say, hey, listen, this is going on, right? Because if you feel safe, when I do therapy with men, it's if they can tell me everything, my whole world is falling apart, I don't have money, right? So if I've created that space where they feel safe to tell me all that, but then in the real world, men struggle to do that towards their partners, then
Mm.
is there a lack coming from the women's side? Or do you think it's actually the man's internal conditioning and upbringing and all that that's coming in his way?
A tremendous amount of it is, yeah. Bear in mind, bear in mind my age. I'm 54, so that's my age group. So that's who I'm
Yeah.
speaking. Younger people may be different. Not everybody has this problem. A lot of men my age do. A lot of men in their 40s, 50s, 60s do. Um, the pride thing, I should be that whole pride and the fear are incredibly strong. It's just what it is. Society expects it. Your society expects the man to be the provider, and if he's not, I don't know what the outcomes are. um, but yes, I mean, someone said it should be discussed with partner. It really, really
Absolutely.
should, but it is terrifying. It is
Well,
terrifying that I'm going to be rejected. It is terrifying that I'm going to just see that my wife turn away because she is like, if he can't protect me, who can? And then there's that respect we talked about last week. There's that respect gone because she's feeling unsafe because he has pretended to be her safety, deceived her for whatever reason, his own reasons. And then it's just like, well, if you can't keep me safe, if you need help, more help than I can provide, it's horrible. It's truly, truly horrible. Yeah, pride is the biggest factor. It really is.
no, Hamish, but I get what you're saying, but
Mm.
make me understand. Make me understand as a woman
Mhm.
that what role am I playing in amplifying that feeling? Because there has to be a way where I can make you feel safe enough to bring that armor down. For me, because obviously then we are in a different space. I'm in my 40s, you're in your 50s, we're more mature, we've been through a lot in life. And obviously, even when I think back, even listening to this version of me, it'd be hard to wrap my head around what is
Mm.
she saying, because it's different stages of life and you have to navigate through that. But being in this space at the stages we are at in life,
Mm.
I'm just trying to understand that how, as a partner, do I help my partner feel safe enough where he can come to me and say, listen, I, my business is falling apart, or they're
Mm.
kicking me out of the job. We were not going to have any. I'm not even talking about the protection part. Let's keep that aside also. Let's just talk about the provider role. So if a man, and then again, then it comes to the second point as well. If the man can't provide, has the man, even in nowadays society, not learned, or we failed to teach him that he is more capable than just providing?
Big part of the problem. It's I'm putting it from my perspective. It's you get in a rut. There are expectations. There are the identity. Changing your identity is very difficult. Going
Yeah.
back to your question, how do you make him feel safe? Respect him.
Oh, we talked about that
Yeah, I
last
know.
time.
Exactly. Respect, talking, listening, being present with each other. It is a two-way thing. Nobody else can make another person safe.
Yeah, and when you talk about respect, I think, correct me, But as a woman, I think when a man is failing, women or their partners or their wives, whatever, fail sometimes or mostly, I don't know, fail to give their partner that holding.
Mm.
So when a man is failing, when he comes and says, "Hey, I'm failing, and, I can't pay for the grocery or wherever there is a lag," the women don't give them that holding and judge them. You are the man. You need to provide. You need to give the kids this. Everything is your job. They feel pressured and rejected and not good enough. And because of that, they never come forward.
Mm.
That's how I'm seeing it, Hamish. Because in my head, I'm keep on playing the story again that I've met so many men in my therapy in Pakistan, right?
Mm.
They tell me these things. Why are they telling me these things? You know, and obviously I can't tell them in therapy, go tell your wife, But I'm trying to understand now that I'm saying it out loud with you is that maybe, yes, it is a big problem with the way they're conditioned and wired for how they need to show up in their identity, right?
Mm.
Just like women have their issues being the good girl syndrome, and then, that's a totally different topic. But staying on men, um, that that gap, you know, where obviously you can't force the man, but you could hold that space and maybe he can open up and it could become easier. Now correct me if I'm wrong, because then again we're coming to all those things that you shed light on, making him feel safe. If I'm making a man feel safe, and you can correct me, and we're partners, and I make him feel safe and I make him feel respected, that I'm not with him because of the money he brings in, I'm with him for him, will that man then be able to come out of that stigma or that identity or whatever and say to me, "Listen, I don't have money for next month. I don't know how we're going to run the home"? Or do you think he's that wiring is so strong that he still won't be able to come forward?
Really, really good question. And from my perspective, I would lie to you.
You would, sorry?
I would lie to you.
You would lie
The
to
the
me.
the Hamish I was would have lied to you and said everything is fine.
Why so? Even when I'm giving you this fact and giving you this the emotional safety and
Yeah,
everything, why would you still lie?
because what happens if this happens? What happens if that? I'm playing these million scenarios on. I'm trying to keep everything together.
Yeah,
I'm if I say this, this happens. If she bursts into tears because she is really frightened because I can't protect her. If this, if that, if the other. And it's horrible to be in a man's head in that situation because whatever he does, he is frightened it's going to be not enough. He is frightened it's not going to be accepted. Um,
mhm.
and again, this is not all men. This is common. You know,
I
some
think
men,
this
and
is
I think,
all men in my society, I would say, because
yeah,
because you see, even when I'm doing the best, he's still struggling. Obviously,
mm,
that's his journey that he has to
mm,
overcome. But then now, let's say that in this space, the woman is holding this space. She's respecting him regardless of his income, and regardless of whatever he does, right? And he still can't come home and say, "Listen, I have no money for next
mm.
month to run the home." He can't just do that. He just pretend on going on. What will you tell that man to do then?
Be honest. You know, I would now be able to say, hey,
Yeah,
I'm struggling. This is not working. I don't know how I'm going to make the rent for next month. I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills for next month. I don't know how we are going to.
yeah,
And that is, I mean, I can still feel it. My whole system is going, this is really scary.
yeah,
And it is scary. However, you know, the scariest thing I ever did when I finally confronted it, the next scariest thing was the stuff to come. That was easy. So having that conversation is going to be safer for the family than not. If I think of it like a ship. I'm the captain of the ship, and there's a crack in the ship. If I don't tell anyone, it's going to sink. If I
Mm,
tell someone, if I the engineer there's a crack, it needs fixing,
yeah,
the ship's going to be fine. But I
yeah.
might be embarrassed, I might be upset, I might be ashamed about it. I have to swallow my pride, as somebody there said. Do men ever think to break the stigma of men's need to be strong and keep their ego side? It would be really helpful if we were able to do that. And it's have that conversation, say, look, it's difficult. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to lose my job. I have lost my job. I need to find another one. It's going to be tight for a month. Have those conversations, because you've got two brains, and a woman is so resourceful. So resourceful.
Hamish, you're
Yes.
giving me no hope. You're giving me no hope.
You are. How well have you survived and looked after yourself since your
But
story is remarkable. You've had to do that as a team.
listen,
It's
I
easier.
did that. I
Mm,
did that. I did the
mm,
role of being the man, playing the father role, being the mother. Obviously, the mother role I had to play, right?
mm,
But being the financial pride, doing everything. Like,
mm.
I didn't have a choice. I was thrown, everything was thrown at me, and I had to,
Yep.
whether I did it correctly or whether I messed it up is a totally different story. But I was thrown into it that I have to be the man and the woman and the
Yep.
mother and the father,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
You don't
Yeah.
have a choice, maybe. You got to
Mm,
do that.
yeah.
And God knows how many nights I've cried and still cry,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
But I can humbly and proudly say I've done that. That
Mm,
is why I was saying that in this space, I sat in front of a man and said, hey, listen, I can take care of myself financially. I can take care of my kids financially.
mm,
I can do everything that I need to. What do
yep.
you bring to the table? Nothing. There is no answer.
Mm,
It's hard to find a partner because they have nothing to say.
mm,
The next thing is, okay, well, you come with kids. Dude, you also come with kids.
mm,
I don't have an issue because I'm secure in myself and I can handle you having kids and they being your priority because I'm a mature woman. But how you're explaining men, right? What I keep on understanding, the gap is just becoming bigger because a man is unable to put their fake egos down. I'm sorry, Hamish, I don't want to be cruel.
mm.
So bear with me.
No,
But
it's
I
it's,
just feel
it's
it's harsh. You're harsh on yourself as a man, and
mm,
we women have to pay the price of it because if
yeah,
I'm giving you respect, I'm giving you
mm,
emotional safety, I'm giving you the love, that's all I can do. That's my capacity. I can't go inside you and fix you.
mm,
But here you are, you're not telling me that I don't have money for running the house next month, and next month comes, and then you come home and you say, I don't have the money. She's gonna blast.
yeah,
And then that's not gonna be a good blast.
no,
Trust me.
no. And but
So,
that
like,
that's
how
that's
much
the
can I carry
yeah,
as a woman?
that's the problem.
Yeah,
And going back to the man, I don't think men realize how strong they are. Well, they've forgotten. I think they
they've
really have
forgotten.
forgotten. Um,
Yeah.
we are incredibly resilient. You women are incredibly resilient. And as someone said there to you, bravo, girl. Absolutely, bravo to you. Um, and
Punch your
some
muscles.
men
Yes.
exactly, yeah. I'm not talking about all men, and not all men in your country are like that. A lot of them are incredibly resilient. They're incredibly strong, and they will
Absolutely.
climb
Yeah.
back up again and climb back up again. Um,
Yes.
and that's what we need more of. We need more of men being able to see that they can do that, because these stories of I can't tell my partner because of what if is so destructive. It's so out of date. It's so destructive. And when that communication is there, you're going to find a way. And if you don't, well, then that was the wrong man. Um,
Hamish, you said that he's going to fall and he's going to rise and he's going to fall and he's going to rise because he's resilient and blah, blah, blah. What comes to my mind is, I fell and I rose. I fell and I rose. I fell and I rose. I'm tired.
mm,
I've accepted, and we've had that conversation in our
mm,
space.
yeah,
Is that Hamish? I'm tired. I don't want to do the man's role. I'm
no,
tired. That I was not built for that.
mm,
I'm secure in my feminism, in my softness. That's my secure.
mhm.
I don't need to hustle. I don't need to be on the get go. Oh, I'm going to prove a man that I can do it all.
Yeah.
I've done. I've proved that.
Mm,
I know I was trying to prove it to whoever I was when I was doing that. I did it, and I've
mm,
been doing it, and I will continue to do it. That's not the problem, right?
mm,
Now I'm taking it. I'm sharing it from a man's perspective also, right? For me as a woman, I said enough. I don't want to do it. Why can't a man say that too? Enough. I'm tired.
mm,
I need to breathe. Let me breathe.
mm. Yeah.
And we hold that space instead
Mm,
of telling
mm,
them, no, go, go. You need to be the provider. Go get out there and be. I still, to be honest, I do feel like I feel angry and frustrated. Like, you're not providing, at least be a protector.
mm.
And if you're not a protector, now I have to go. Now the narrative that I'm learning is okay, Mavish. So if they don't even want to be your protectors, you pick the part of the provider. Now go and learn boxing, learn how to use a gun, learn how to use a knife. Because sadly, they don't want to
Mm,
protect you as well. How will I feel safe in my body in
mm.
this world? So then I have to give myself that safety. That's the
Yeah.
only way. I
Yeah.
build that muscle as well.
Mm, yeah.
So then again, the question comes back to my frustration is, what do we do?
I don't know what the answer is. The I don't know if a
There,
man is
somebody
not
says
if
I need to breathe. Yeah,
yeah,
I need. Hamish,
absolutely.
don't. I mean, I truly understand what you're saying, right? But where I get stuck with the conversation is that if I'm holding this space, like this conversation is about me learning how to show up better for men, right? Where I can play my part as a woman,
Mm,
as a partner, as a friend, as a wife, as a girlfriend, blah, 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 right? But if you said, even if you're doing all that, there is a big chance that there still be that wall. And that is making me not happy.
mm. It's absolutely, and it's really really unfortunate. And as someone's just said there, a man needs to hear that he can break, he can take a
Yeah,
break.
yeah.
Um, and that's his narrative. That's expectations from society, but it's also his choices. You know, I'm never going to be that person I was before because it didn't work. You know, I lost a beautiful lover, a beautiful wife because we grew apart and I didn't know how to communicate. And it was tragic. Really, really unfortunate.
How many men
Whether,
understand that when
yeah,
they mess
whether,
up a relationship?
yeah, whether it was destined to us to be together or not is
Yeah, yeah, that's a totally different
a
subject.
different thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the communication, and I've had to fall. You know, I came down to two choices. I had to decide whether to live or die, and I chose to live. I'm still here. Um, I had to sit with that shame. I had to sit with all of that. And has that made me a better person? Yes. You know, I am able to say I can't do this. I'm able to say, you know, this isn't working. I'm able to say I can't pay the rent this month. Um, and it is hard.
it's hard.
It is, however, amazing. And then coming back to the support, it's very easy for a woman like you when you have to do everything. You become hard. You've said your feminine softness. That's where you love to be.
Yeah,
That's where every woman deserves to be. It's not soft as in pathetic. It's soft as in feminine,
yeah,
and that feminine feeds and nourishes the man. So she's in her feminine, he's in his healthy masculine, and then you've got a unit which is magical and powerful. But he has to be prepared to listen, be gentle, in touch with his feminine side as well. Not female, but feminine
yeah,
side, is
yeah.
his nurturing energy to
Mm.
protect you, the woman, the female, and then that you soften. You don't have that hard masculine exterior. He can fall into his masculine to be supportive by communicating, by being vulnerable, by being honest.
So,
by risking what he's uncertain about. And then the magic happens. Then he does step into that protector role, that nurturing, strong role for his partner, his wife, his lover, his girlfriend, whatever.
so then we
Yeah.
come back to where we started from. When the roles were more clearer and defined, it
Mm,
was easier to be more masculine and easier to be more feminine because there was nobody was merging into different roles. That's why when my father speaks,
mm,
right? And of course, he's had failed experiences. He struggled financially, right?
mm,
But he carries that aura of a masculine man. Like
yep,
his energy, I feel safe.
yep,
I feel he doesn't have to do anything, take out a
mm,
knife, or my
mm,
father's not beaten people in front of me or
mm,
been aggressive.
yep,
But when he's standing next to me, I feel safe
yep,
because he embodies that energy. It's not something he's
mm,
projecting.
yep,
It's instilled in him in a very organic way,
yep.
you know.
Mm,
And
mm.
I,
That
I,
is remarkable, isn't it? That
yeah,
is how a healthy man should be. And as you said, the roles have changed.
yeah,
Men are slower to catch up. Um,
yeah,
yeah, men are slower to catch up, and so they are complicating everything. I'm just thinking there was a Tony Robbins was doing something a couple of,
yeah,
on a video, and this incredibly masculine woman turned out, and I can't remember the language, but she basically, you could see her just her
yeah,
masculinity
yeah,
do that,
yeah.
and this beautiful woman came out, and she just he. I've never seen anybody change so much. Not because he's arrogant or big or dangerous. He's just confident and exudes that
He's
healthy
amazing. Yeah,
masculinity.
yeah, yeah. When you say that, and I'm thinking about my father. I mean, if I go back when my father was in his 40s or in his 30s, and I was younger, I didn't feel safe around him. Right? So it's with age,
Mm,
right? Uh, that he's learned because he can express himself. He can show all his emotions. He can cry in
yep,
front of me, and he
yep,
doesn't feel weak.
hmm
And if he was in his 40s, I don't think so he ever cried. Not that I saw
mm,
him. So
yep,
I guess because he's come to a point in his life and his with age and stuff where he
mm,
feels that's my understanding. Obviously, he would be the person to answer rightfully, but he feels secure in himself that I can cry and it
yep,
doesn't take away my masculinity. I can say openly
mm,
I'm struggling with money, and it doesn't take away my manhood, right?
yep,
And 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 then the other thing that comes, two things are coming up to me, and one's like I've met us. I've reached out to so many men locally, and if anybody in this space is interested, can always reach out. Hamish, why do I have these conversations with you or other men from different countries? Men in my country don't want to come forward and have. At least I'm unable to connect with those men who
mm,
want to share stories. I know so many people say, why don't you come and talk about your divorce? Let women hear what you go through.
mm,
Let women understand what we make you guys go through so they can hear it from a man. Maybe they'll learn something, but they don't want to come forward. Now, when you're not coming forward, how much value will my words carry than your words?
mm,
Obviously, your words would carry more, I think, more depth because you're a man, right? I can't explain that to a woman the way a man can. So when
mm,
they don't come forward, it's more frustrating.
mm,
And then there's this show I used to watch, and I tell every man to watch it. It's a Turkish show, right? And it's called Arthurul, and in Pakistan we call it Artugul. So if people are listening and they're trying to figure out, and these are men who were warriors back in the
mm,
day in Turkey. They were warriors, and they were hunters and they were warriors, and they were ready for war all the time, right? And they had to look out for enemies, right? But now you see they are tall, they're built, they took those men with strong builds, they're tall, they're masculine, so they show the real men and they can do the heavy lifting and they can kill 100 men with their sword, right? So you look at this man and he's like, wow, you're like amazed by his strength and everything. But then you see he comes to the tent, and in this tent is his wife, right? and he puts his head on her lap and he cries. And he's not scared to cry because
Mm,
his wife is not going to say, "Oh, you're crying, be a man," right? He's not feeling that. And
mm,
he feels safe to just lay on his wife's lap and cry because he lost a father or he went to war and he lost a friend. And she comforts him. She doesn't judge him. She holds that space and she comforts him, right? And then you just see him the next day. He walks out. He's ready to go on a war and he's ready to
mm,
fight. And it was so beautiful, Hamish. When I've seen that show like 6, 7 times. Even my son says, "Oh my God, Mama's going to start watching it again,"
mm,
because it's refreshing to see.
mm,
For me, it's refreshing because he has that exterior where he has his armor on. He's strong. I just look at him and I feel safe, right? But then when he comes in the tent, he takes off his armor and he
mm,
shows his other side. I'm also weak. I feel fragile. I lost a friend. This war was
mm,
hard for me. I can't
mm.
carry it anymore. And she held it with grace.
Yep.
And that makes me very emotional. But yeah, that's for me, I think every man should watch that show. Maybe the way it resonated with me, it would resonate with men. To see that their masculinity was
Mm,
not shamed or judged or whatever the things you're saying that you
yeah,
felt back
mm,
back in the day.
yeah.
They need to feel that burden and pressure.
And I think if a man watched something like that, if he wrapped his head around it, it would be realized that yeah, I can do that. There is so much bravery in being vulnerable. It's ironic. It's the most brave and courageous thing you can do is say, "Hey, I need help. Hey, this isn't working." Cry on your wife's lap, and it's not weak. It is not weakness. It is a moment of honesty. It is vulnerability, and just saying, I need your help.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing is, it's not easy. It's not easy. Full stop. It is. It allows the woman to step into her magic, which is that divine feminine support and love and that touch, that caress, that it's okay. And you heal each other because
Yeah.
he will step out of that and say, she loves me, she needs me, she wants me, she's supporting me, she's got my back. I can do it. He walks out 6 foot taller. He is not just a warrior with a sword and a shield. He is a fucking hero, and he will go and solve it and fix it and make it be all right.
Yeah.
Um, it does take a risk.
I think men are just scared of being vulnerable. And for
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
my biggest truth, I don't know if women in here can also share their experiences, but for me, I never felt safe if a man couldn't show his emotions.
yeah,
I was like,
mm,
what is this? If you can't cry, if you
mm,
can't say you're having a week, like, how am I supposed to connect with you? I can't connect with you.
mm,
I'm, it's just there's something, it's fake. For me, it's
yeah,
fake,
mm,
right? So, and I know I've heard a lot of women say, "Oh, a man crying? No, no, we don't want to see men crying." I've
no, it's
spoken with a
uncomfortable.
lot of women in my
Mm,
space, and she's like, "Why do you want to see a man cry?" And I say, "He's not crying every day, like like that. But if he breaks down one day and he cries, I'm not going to be stop crying, be a man.
no,
I'm going to go hug him and say,
mm,
okay, let it out,
mm,
just let it come out." And
yeah,
I would never judge him or look him
mm,
differently or less of a man because he's a man. He's a human in the end of the day.
mm, yeah.
So he
He,
should be allowed.
yeah, he should. And he got
Yeah.
bullied at school for crying. He got bullied at school for sobbing, for being weak. He got told, when he banged his knee as a child, "Don't cry, it hurt, didn't hurt." He had his feelings invalidated.
Yeah.
He was told, "Boys don't cry." He was told all these things. It's just like, no, well, what the hell? Now you expect me to cry, and yet it's so dangerous.
Mm.
So he has to risk, and it is scary, and yet when he does, it is magical. It is really, really magical because then there's that trust. Exactly as you said. How can I trust you if you don't show your emotions? I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And like your dad, I'm a little bit older and I cry a lot. There's no shame in it, and sometimes it's joy, sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's because I've banged my toe against a corner again.
Yeah.
Um, but and as you girls know, it makes you feel better. You've just kicked out some emotional energy, and you feel better for it. But it's overcoming that narrative that boys don't cry, and it's not okay.
That's just one part of it, Hamish. Boys don't cry, right? There are a lot of things we discuss. It's vulnerability. It's even when a woman is holding the space, giving the respect,
Mm,
giving the love, and giving the safety. Even then, he's still carrying that burden. So,
mm.
so if we just take and we'll wrap it up on this. If we just take, I want to go back on that point where you said that even if a woman is holding space where he's feeling safe, respected, and loved, yet he keeps the wall out. What would you say to those men?
Risk it. Do something differently. If it's not worked a million times, it's not going to work a million and one times. Have that conversation. Grab your partner by the hand and just say, "Hey, I really am finding this so hard. I want to tell you stuff. It's scary. I don't know how to do it." But
Yeah,
just start that conversation with, "Look, I'm finding it hard," and just see what
yeah,
happens. Um, the advantages are so much higher than the risks. But the risk is all up here. The problem is that we're thinking about it. When we drop down into feeling, when we drop down into our heart, when we drop down into I'm going to have these conversations because the thinking isn't working, then that's going to work, you know. And if it doesn't, well, then that's unfortunate. But 99 times out of 100, it will be this was so much easier than I thought it was. Why the hell didn't I do this 5 years ago, 2 years ago? Um, go for it. You have too much to gain by being honest with your partner, your lover, your wife. Too much to benefit from saying, "Can we be a team? Can you help me?"
yeah.
Mm.
That makes sense. Hamish, I'm going to wrap it up here because you said so many beautiful things. But what's coming to my mind is next on our next podcast, on our next live,
Mhm.
I want you to talk, and because we both experience it, how does a woman and how does a man learn to risk it when they have been in a narcissistic relationship?
That'll be an interesting conversation. Yeah. Mm.
Because that kills you. How
Mm.
do you bridge that? Because that ruins you. So I think we both can speak. You can speak from the man's perspective, and I can speak from the women's perspective. How do you risk it then? What do you think, guys? Yeah, Hamish?
I think that'll be a really good conversation. Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really good conversation. Yeah. Mm. Looking
Maybe
forward
that,
to it.
yeah. Yeah, all right. Well,
Mm.
Hamish, thank you so much for coming live once again with me. Hamish, um, again, sorry, before we wrap up, if people want to connect with you, how can they connect with you? Are you doing something specifically for men uh, where they can reach out and do some program with you or whatever? Please share that with my audience.
Absolutely. First of all, someone has said you guys are doing a wonderful job. Thank you. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
It's always good
Yes.
and it's lovely. And any questions, throw some questions out. We will make time for these another time for sure.
Yeah.
But am I doing things? Well, I'm currently preparing a podcast, which is going live in a few weeks' time. And yes, I am working with men. I'm creating it's a space. It's called the 13th Room, where we can have these conversations, where it's a chance to even practice talking about stuff that we can't deal with, don't know how to deal with, and just looking at this shame because it's self-inflicted and it's
Yeah.
really hard to deal with. And yet, as soon as you start talking about stuff, it's like throwing the windows open, throwing the curtains open, let the light in. It's suddenly, why the hell didn't I do this earlier? So that's the conversations I'm having. Mm.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Amish. Once again, I will see you back pretty soon.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I can't believe it's been an hour already. That was so quick.
That went really
Mm.
fast.
Yeah.
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 Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, if you want to share something, shoot me, shoot Hamish a DM, and we will make sure we get back to you. Hamish, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Remember, it's narcissism next time. Ciao,
Absolutely.
everyone. Take care. Bye bye.